Good morning, everyone. So here we are with Saturday's Weeping for Jerusalem. I love that we're having this on Saturday because Saturday is in the Christian tradition so commonly thought of as Mary's Day. A lot of Mary devotionals happen. And even though I'm going to draw upon a reflection of Jesus for this devotional, I also am aware that the divine feminine, and represented in the person of Mary here, probably weeps in the holiest sense of the word more than anyone. And probably when we weep from a very sacred place, that's really the divine feminine moving within us. I even believe that it's a Kali energy, and Kali, the goddess, and statues of Kali, and they often are depicted as these warrior pictures with the blood, and she's got the sword and she's conquering something, and I think that that's very true as well, that Kali settles for nothing less than our entire transformation, and therefore she's willing to destroy anything that stands in the way. But I also believe that Kali is that energy that perceives inhumanity when we are falling so short of our nature, and has a deep welling up anguish. And I'm sure that you probably have stories in your own life where you have had that kind of anguish. Oftentimes, without even realizing it, we cut ourselves immediately off from it. It's not very acceptable in culture to have that kind of anguish. And we get caught up then in the story, in rationalizing about it or thinking about it. We move into a working with it instead of just feeling the deep anguish that we may have. And the anguish may be a deep disappointment in our community, in our world, in a leader, in a faith tradition, in a relationship. Something that's notable when it is this divine feminine movement is that it's true. That is the key factor, is that the anguish is coming from an observation that is true. And there is a story in the life of Jesus that oftentimes moves me, even though it's a very, very short story. At a certain point, Jesus is up on some precipice. I can't remember where, maybe some translations of the scripture have it, but he's up on some precipice and he's looking out over Jerusalem, and deep anguish comes. In some translations, it says that he weeps. And as he looks out over Jerusalem, he says, "Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, how much I longed to gather you as a hen gathers her chicks. But you did not recognize me." That is that divine feminine Kali energy. That is that gift that we have, each one of us, inside of us, where we look out on someone or something, and because it or they are missing the truth in some way, deep anguish results. And I wonder if you might spend today and reflect a little bit. Reflect on times that you have felt that anguish and why or where it came from. And reflect on if you let it move through you. Because that anguish it's not tidy. It doesn't fit with a little kerchief. It could move into deep sobbing if you let that kind of anguish really move through you. So this morning's meditation is going to be a presencing of that anguish within you and allowing it to move. Usually it's held deep down in the belly, allowing it to move up to the heart and the throat. It's hard to express that anguish, isn't it, at times? We're going to do a little bit of an exercise for that. But during your day, I'd like you to reflect on when you have had moments of anguish like that. One thing to note in that short story that I just told of Jesus is that when he wept, he was standing up high. I don't know if it was like a ledge looking over at the town, or somehow he had a little bit of distance. The little bit of distance let him connect in the most intimate way. And I think that that is a symbol that our anguish, when it arises from that place, is because we're seeing things from a divine perspective. We're not seeing things from a perspective where we're caught in the story of it, where we're analyzing every bit and piece of it, but rather we are not disassociated and not removed, but have a certain distance, that our anguish comes from a place that is free and that is true. Right? So with that, I invite you to close your eyes. And if you can, connect with one insight that you have that you know is true and that leads you to a certain sorrow in relation to its truth. And now see if you can find where this sits in the body. And if you're not certain, allow it to sit deep, deep within the gut, the solar plexus, not so much, I'm sorry, not the solar plexus, a little lower into the sacral chakra, real deep into the abdomen, like you're birthing this insight, and connect to it. And let the awareness soften you. You may feel powerless. You may feel emotion. You may feel nothing. Breathe into it. And now allow this anguish to move up the body, up into the heart, Even if it feels heavy, let it move up to the heart. And let it stay in the heart, but move to the throat as well. And let it now on the breath move out through the mouth as well. If you wish, you can say a sound. If not, just let it move with the breath. You're not getting rid of it, you're expressing it. Ah. 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 Let us weep for the fear that's arising within our country right now. Let us weep for the ways our leaders do not see truth or stand firm in truth. Let us weep for our faith communities that are so often slow to see light. Let us weep for violence and oppression. Let us weep for where there is division. Let us weep for the places within ourselves that are scared to surrender to love. And let yourself, as we begin to end this devotional, recognize the holiness of your anguish. Notice within you what happens when you let the anguish move. And when you're ready, I invite you to open your eyes. And if you wish, join me energetically. I'm leaving this morning to go to a Buddhist monastery this weekend down about 3 hours south of here in a town called Crestone. I felt inspired given the what's happening in our country right now, to spend extra time in meditation in the service of this fear that's arising within our community. So join me if you will. And on Monday, when we gather again, I will still be there. So you'll get the energy of the temple. If no one's around, I'll do the meditation in the temple. Blessings, my friends.